What's up, guys? Cedar Bee here, coming at you with a Town Hall 9 CC Bowlers video, because they are crushing, just a ton of variety. So we're going to get right into it. I've got four different attacks for you today. So pretty good variety. And which was it? Yep, there it was. We have Jimmy using an Archer Queen Walk Avalanche, and he's going to start his queen up here at about 1 o'clock, and then he's going to work her down towards 3, where he's going to bring in his golem and bowler portion of the attack. So Baby Dragon is dropped up top, as we said. Archer Queen is at 1 o'clock, and the main goal at this point is just get through the whole base. He's got 2 jump spells, and you know, it's a maxed attack, full kill squad, going all the way through the base. You know, in this instance, no defense targeting troops, and for the back end, so you really have to make sure you can get a nice clean funnel cut with your queen, like he is in this instance, and then he's going to bring in the flanking kill squad to jump into the rest of the core. And similar to the Town Hall 9 or Town Hall 11 Archer Queen Walk Vomit attack, he's pretty much in this instance created, you know, a clockwise rotation for the rest of the attack to go. So 2 golems are dropped, bowlers are also dropped, and with the pretty much natural funnel of the base, all of the bowlers do go inside. CC gets drawn. Queen is going to go down here in just a second, and golems and king and queen go into the center. Healers was still on them, so that's great. The bowlers end up being bowlers and decide they want to be wall breakers for whatever reason, but you know, they're down there doing their thing. And he brings in that 3rd golem from about 11 o'clock onto the mortar that was right down there, and brings in a couple of wizards, and that's just flanking the last portion of the attack. You know, he's closing in the remaining portion, or you know, if the wizards were still alive, he already did, you know, cut that portion of the base out of the equation by saving a few troops on the back end. And we've got another great attack featuring that coming up next. And yeah, bowlers are still alive. They ended up getting through the walls that they were beaten through, and as you can see, just the massive push that was created, getting all of those bowlers inside of the base, is probably one of the biggest points that I could make about this video, and I'll make it very early. You know, getting all 5 of those bowlers inside, from what I've seen, I think you probably have around a 90% chance of 3-starring it if your back end portion with your defense targeting troops, you know, doesn't get fudged up. But moving on, we're going to go 1 up to Supreme, and he's bringing in 4 golem. He's going to start cutting the funnel at 12 o'clock, going to drop in another golem on the mortar, and then he's just going to help start clearing that side. And as that continues to work through, he has 2 jump spells, so he's trying to get all the way through the core. And you know, the layout of this base, and the thing we all know about bowlers is the double bounce. And you know, the question might come up, you know, hey B, when should I use bowlers and when should I just use Goho? Well, generally it's going to be how the base is laid out, in my opinion. When I decide to use bowlers as a Goboho, or you know, whatever it may be, Gobo Lalo, the bowler factor, in my opinion, is looked at as, do you get value out of the double bounce? And where, you know, obviously where are they going to path? You want to make sure they go into the center, but does that double bounce give you any value? Does it allow you the benefit of getting any additional defenses down once they're in the core? In some bases, no is the answer. I think the best example, maybe base style, I could think of right off the top of my head would be a base where the Archer Queen is on the outside, has a moat behind it, just very sectioned off, or the value that you're really looking for is just sectioned off in that area, that's when I would kind of consider using just a go-ho, you know, just whether it's cold-blooded, shattered, getting that jump into getting the queen, the clan castle, hopefully the king if possible, and you know, if the bomb tower is around, which it is a lot of the time because people want to defend against skeleton spells being dropped on the queen, but that also just opens your base up for a go-ho attack or a hog attack in general, because being at Town Hall 9, obviously only having one of those, getting that taken out can be a pretty big factor, and leaving the back end portion nice and open. So in this instance, good call bringing in the and guys, I completely talked over it. The fourth golem he dropped here at 530 held on to the last remaining hogs that he had, a couple of wizards, and just like Jimmy using it up at the other side of the base, he dropped it down here. This last corner at 6 o'clock was completely tanked for, and you know, just held on to that extra troop space a little bit longer, and that's just great execution, great read. Apologize I was talking over that, because that was one of my favorite things about the raid, but we're going to go ahead and move on. Next we have myself, and I came in with Gobo Drag, and the way this base is laid out, I knew I could get all four air targeting defenses, so pretty much just the square, you know, that they're in. If I could get my kill squad in there, get my bowlers in there, I know the jump spell is going to get them at least as far as up to be able to reach the queen. Obviously get the clan castle, the king, all four air defenses, an air sweeper, and you know, we can just see how this is going to develop. So I do get a very nice clean entry. I remember trying to be patient on the bowler deployment, and the rest of, you know, my king and my queen wanted those golems to get out front, but didn't want to screw up the pathing of my bowlers. So I think I did a pretty good job making sure I was able to execute that well. I held on to that poison spell a bit longer. They were just out of range, so for a second during the attack I almost dropped it, but it wasn't coming out, so I'm glad I caught that and didn't waste the value, because there was a lot of archers in there and that baby drag. But at this point, all air defenses are down. Queen is still up, but I'm not too worried about that, because I have 5 dragons coming in from 1 o'clock, and we can already see the pathing. Now, I do have a skeleton spell, which I did bring just kind of where needed. I didn't know if I'd need to use it on my queen, didn't know if there'd be a Tesla farm like there was in this instance, so on and so forth. But I know a popular attack right now is the Octo Baby, and I have not practiced it, so I can't really say too much about it, but and I'm going to try it. You know, I'm not going to knock it till I try it, but my initial gut reaction as far as that attack is concerned is it's nice, it's fancy, but I don't think it can be used on every base. I think it's very base specific, like in this case with the dragons. I think kind of a dragon attack in general is kind of specific, but what I'm trying to get at, and actually the attack ended right now, so we'll take a look at it. Baby dragons, damage per second, 85. The enraged bonus damage is 2, so they have 170 hit points if no other baby drags are around them. Other than that, it goes to 85, and they're at 1,300 hit points. Looking at a dragon, damage per second, 210, and twice the hit points, so more than double the damage per second at its base, and twice the amount of hit points. So maybe I need to watch a few more videos. I'm not going to try and knock it, but my initial reaction to that is, as you can see, I think I lost 1 dragon through the rest of that attack, and I'm in our current war, which I don't want to be in right yet. Um, regardless of that, I'll stop on that tangent. I apologize. And let's go on to the last attack we're going to cover. This is going to be Terror of Boston taking on Gangrene. And Shattered Gobo Lalo. He's going to want his entry to be straight into that queen, both the air defenses and the expo. And you'll notice once the bowlers, like we talked about earlier in the video, once the bowlers get into the core of the base on the expo side, they're going to have access to, you know, both of the air defenses down here, hopefully, and then the cannon and the archer tower if everything goes smoothly. So that's a good investment. That's a good chance to go ahead and bring them inside, and creates a nice funnel with it. Jump spell goes down, bowlers finally go in, and CC will be drawn here in just a second, has a rage waiting and a heal spell, and poison is going to be, nope, no poison actually, sorry. Has to pop that king ability. He goes down pretty darn early. The witch can be a little scary, but those bowlers get it down pretty quickly. And at this point, he has created a pretty darn good value. 2 air defenses down, an expo, a sweeper, and where he's bringing the rest of his Lalo portion. We've talked about it in other videos. You know, Hogs and La Lune. They're working counterclockwise, and they're going to end up meeting up to where that queen is. And the pathing that he's bringing now, that first Lava Hound did end up popping, but the second Lava Hound picked up a red air bomb, skeleton trap, seeking air mine. All air defenses are down. Doesn't have really any traps to worry about, and has 1 haste spell left. So things do, you know, kind of slow down, drops that last haste, gets through that expo, gets down that wizard tower, and now he just has point defense to worry about. Does have the nice flanking pups and minions coming from 9 o'clock to 6 o'clock. That's just obviously going to help accelerate his cleanup. And we're just going to have to let the rest of this work through. So we'll go ahead and put it in 2 times. And that's going to be it for this one, guys. Like I said, bowlers right now, you can use them anywhere. Look at the base. You know, if you have a clean path to get them in, you have a good funnel. And, you know, one thing I didn't mention is definitely invest a few more wizard or whatever you may have to ensure your funnel is going to be good enough. Like I said, getting all 5 of those bowlers inside of the base is going to be huge, all of that damage, so it's worth it to invest a couple more wizards, drop 2 hogs, what have you, to ensure that goes inside. And you know, as we saw, just completely trashed it. If the base is calling for it, base is calling for bowlers, you can get the value, get them to the core, get the double bounces, you're going to be sitting in good shape. So thanks for watching, guys. Until next time, try new things, and Cedarby out.